So we're in the garden's coastal scrub habitat, and it's really a rare habitat in South Florida. So much of it, because it's high, dry, and coastal, has been built upon. So when we started the seed bank, we saw this opportunity to analyze this area and see what was in seed conservation collections around the globe and what wasn't. And we really saw that there were a number of species, there were almost 70 species in just this 9 acres of scrub habitat that are absent or underrepresented in seed banks around the entire globe. So huge opportunity for us to get out right on our own property and start collecting these seeds, getting them into the seed bank, learning how to grow them, and be able to start research on growing them, but also on seed banking them for the long term. So when you typically think of a botanical garden, you think of the living plants and walking through this collection, this display of living plants. And those plants can be for conservation or for horticulture, just for beauty. But gardens do so much more than that. So by Naples Botanical Garden having a seed bank, it adds an extra layer of conservation and an extra layer of insurance. So having seeds in the seed bank, those can be readily available for restoration purposes. If we have a storm and say like a beach dune is wiped out, we have seeds that are ready and right there to restore that ecosystem. These are locally collected seeds. These are the most adapted plant material for that. But also having those seeds there, they're available for research. We have researchers from around the globe reach out to us and ask for seeds to do research on. And having those seeds right there provides a great opportunity for us to just get those seeds right to them, and it makes research that much quicker. I think the seed bank has been one of our greatest successes, especially coming out of COVID. We went from, let's start a small seed bank, to then receiving a federal grant. We scaled it up very quickly and have a team that's out in the field 2 days a week that are collecting seeds. And now we have hundreds of thousands of seeds of several different species in that seed bank. Really, this represents Noah's Ark for our region. This is really the place where those seeds are stored for the long-term storage. And seeds are such a unique thing because in a garden we can typically have 1 or 2 plants on display of a species because we have so many different plants in our collection. But in a seed bank we can have hundreds of thousands of seeds of one species. Each of those seeds is a packet of genetic information about that plant, and it contains all of the genetic diversity of those plants. Well, the neat thing about that is as humanity, we're facing climate change. We're facing issues where we're having trouble growing wheat and some of our grains because of increasing temperatures. Well, some of those seeds in that seed bank might have that genetic information that makes them more resilient for the future. So really, a seed bank is so much more than just saving seeds for the long term. It really can be something that helps us in agriculture, helps us in restoration and conservation research. It's really a great resource for really the whole globe. But unless we do this work and get this plant material ahead of time, before it has the potential to be lost in a fire or a hurricane or a storm or just a climate change, loss of a pollinator, we really don't know what we're going to do with that material. Having it available for restoration, that's one of the highest purposes we see for use of this material, especially in the face of hurricanes. We face increasing intensity and frequency of storms. In fact, I think today the hurricane prediction for the season comes out, and we're going to watch that closely and see, do we need to spend more time in some of these coastal areas collecting what are the ecosystems we really need to hit the hardest so that we can have that material available for us, but for our partners. It's great to have that plant material for restoration for our partners, for their ecosystems, our land managers.
What we do is we take a floristic inventory, which is just a list of all the plants that occur in a particular area, and we run this through a bunch of different databases to kind of figure out the conservation aspect of that plant. We did this here with our very own preserve, and we figured out that there are over 30 species that are not in any backup collection globally. From that standpoint, there are 70 species total that are in 3 or less, which we consider at risk in case anything were to happen in its natural environment. So we kind of do the groundwork to figure out what we need to be targeting, and then we go through with collections. So when we collect the seeds, we bring it back, we get it to grow, and then from there we can seed bank it as well, so we have it for future generations if we need restoration. I would say just recently, I've been here for about 4 years, and within the last year I've seen a drastic change within the patterns of flowering and seeding. There's been a lot more droughts that have been occurring. There was a very weird winter. There was a harsher winter this year around, and so we're not getting as many seeds as we usually would. And things aren't flowering when they should be, which means that the pollinator that's associated with it isn't pollinating it at the right time. So we're seeing a drastic reduction in seed availability, and at the same time we're also seeing issues with things such as coastal erosion on the beach, populations that were once there that we return to the next year to collect from, and it's significantly reduced. Collections are exceptionally rushed at this point in time because the plant is currently here and we don't know when it's not going to be there. It could be at any moment, honestly. Everything is connected with the web of life, and so one thing affects another, and then you're just going to continue to see losses unless you have a way to back up and restore that plant population, or even to introduce it in other areas where maybe the climate is better, depending on the forces of climate change. It's exceptionally gratifying to see what our seed bank has become in this short amount of time. And it's also amazing when we get things to grow and we've bulked them up to enough seed production that something that we could now use for, say, a planting project here along Naples Beach, or something that we can bring back to one of our partners is Rookery Bay Research Reserve. If they ever have a restoration need, we can say, we have this plant, we know how to grow it, and we have enough that we can bring it back to you.